In this week's video, I'm going to show you how to paint this pretty Alstroemeria flower, and I'm going to be using these gorgeous paints from Deep Light. So without any further ado, let's get started. Okay, so today I'm going to be using these stunning paints that were gifted to me very kindly from Deep Light. I'll talk to you a little bit about them as I work through. Now I have to say, you don't have to buy these paints to join in. You can use whichever colours that you have, but I will be using them because they are absolutely stunning, and I'll show you how beautiful they are as we work through. You can see here that I've swatched out the colours that I'm using, but I will be giving you alternative colours as we work through the tutorial in case you don't have these. I've traced out my drawing from a photograph that I've printed out, and I'll tell you later on in this video how you can access this photograph so that you can trace it down if you want to, but of course you can draw it freehand if you wish. The paper that I'm using is 300 GSM and it's a rough surface paper and it's from Ochre. First colour I'm going to mix up is green woodpecker. This is a stunning granulating colour. Next up we have Masha's green. Again, a beautiful granulating colour with a really strong yellow undertone. So the next colour that I'm going to be using is called Blueberry. That's really soft, muted blue colour, perfect for the tonal variations within the white tones of the flower. Next up, we have Woodcow Wheat, which is a burgundy tone along with golden gold ochre. And this is really, really special because it has a little bit of gold in it, sort of a little bit sparkly. Beautiful colours, but like I said, don't worry if you don't have them. You can use whichever colours that you have. This is the set that I have here, and I've also got these little dot cards that Deep Light gave me, and I'll be using these as well because I don't actually have the pan. The brushes I'm using a number 8 round and a number 2 snowdrop round, as well as my little eradicator brush there. Everything that I'm going to be using I will be linking in the description box underneath this video, along with a 10% discount code that Deep Light are going to be providing if you use my link. So as you can see, we're using this Masha's green to start with. This is going to form the base colour of our leaves, which we're going to be painting over a little bit later on. Okay, so to use this, you straight onto the paper using my number 8 round. This brush is from Ochre and the other brushes are from Rosemary & Co. So straight over the leaves like this. Notice how bright this colour is, but don't worry, we're going to be toning it down later on because of course watercolour is all about building up your colours slowly, making sure that each layer is dry before applying the next. So all over the green areas, the sort of yellowy green tones that we have here, using this gorgeous Masha's green just to add our base tone. I'm also putting a tiny bit on the petals, so you can see here. I'm blending it out with my brush. Now I do have a video explaining how I apply my paint, and I'll link that on the top of your screen if you'd like to take a look and have a check it out in more detail. So next up we have these two colours mixed together, this stunning green woodpecker and a little bit of blueberry. The blueberry colour will darken up the green so that we can see the colours that we have here. Now what I will say is because these colours are granulating, they do separate out a little bit on the palette, so you'll need to keep stirring them as we go through. These paints are all handmade with love and care from these two gorgeous ladies in Latvia, and I really, really love them. Now what they have told me is that because these paints are handmade, they do need to be activated by spraying them with water to get them moving again, but actually I didn't find this when I used my set. I found that I could just use them in the way that I would ordinarily do, but they do suggest if you are going to treat yourself to some of these paints that you just spritz them with water to get them activated. So I'm using my number 2 snowdrop pointed round here, as you can see, to paint another layer on top of the yellow-green colour that we've painted, and I've negatively painted around some of the veins, as you can see there. Negative painting is when you go around a colour to create a shape, and we can see these little shapes of the veins here, and I'm doing the same on all of the other petals. So just continuing the process, working up like this and blending it through. I'm adding some more green woodpecker here and going over these veins to create another layer of paint which makes the green tone pop off the page. So just mixing them up like this, dropping in that colour so we have the mixture of green woodpecker along with blueberry there. Using my number 2 snowdrop pointed round. This is a lovely brush from Rosemary & Co. It's got a lovely fine point and it's a synthetic brush, and I will link them all in the description box underneath this video. This paper that I'm using is absolutely gorgeous. I love this little sketchbook from Ochre. I bought mine from Jackson's. It's a 300 GSM cold press paper, which is a little bit textured, and I really love it. Again, I will link in the description box underneath this video. Now, if you are new here, just to let you know that we do launch new content every single Tuesday and all our videos are full length. So if this is something that appeals to you, you may want to consider subscribing to my channel and hitting that little bell notification. That way you'll be notified when I upload new content. So you can see me here just adding this little bit of detail in here and blending it through. Use any of the green tones on your palette to do this. Continuing the process and just adding a watered down version of that green tone, so it's the same green mix and just blending it through like this. If you are enjoying this video, could I ask you please to give it a big thumbs up? It's a way of letting YouTube know that you're enjoying my content, and it means that more people can see it and join in as well. Just adding a tiny bit more and continuing to build up the colours on these now dry leaves by negatively painting around those veins again, and you can see how you can see that lovely sort of lemon yellow green tone shine through underneath that started to create those veins and make them really pop off the page. Just carefully applying the paint, wet on dry, using my number 2 snowdrop pointed round. You can see I'm just taking it right up to that pencil edge like this. Now at the start of this video I mentioned that we have a free drawing that you can trace down and an outline, a really simple outline that you can use if you don't want to draw it freehand. And if you want to have access to that, it's really easy. All you need to do is watch this video right until the end, and I will put the line drawing and the photograph right at the end after the outro so that you can pause the video and screenshot it and you can print it out that way. So just continuing to work around the flower head like this, using that beautiful colour, the green woodpecker, which has that gorgeous yellow undertone, and it's this granulating colour. You'll need to keep mixing it up on your palette. If you are interested in treating yourself to some of these stunning paints, Deep Light are offering a 10% discount if you use my code, which I will put in the description box. Everything's now dry, so we need to start to think about building up some tonal variation in the flower because it's looking a little bit too flat. I'm using blueberry for this, and I've got 2 petals on my palette there, one with a little bit more water than the other. If you don't have this colour and you want to join in, you could use something like a Payne's Grey. It will be a little bit less bluey, but it would work just as well. If you do want advice on any colours to use, and if you don't want to buy these colours, please let me know in the comments and I will do my best to help you. We want everybody to join in with these videos, so let me know if you get stuck. I'm taking this colour over some of the areas on the flower head just to give it a bit of tonal variation, as I said, to stop it from looking flat, and just continuing the process working around like this. You can see me here picking up some of the drier paint and going over that first wash of that bluey grey colour and just enhancing it like this. So as you can see me doing here, some of the stamen and anther have a shadow, so you can see me painting them in here just really lightly with a tiny bit of paint on my brush. Now, if botanical painting is something that you enjoy, we do have weekly free tutorials here on YouTube, as I've said, but if you'd like to have something that's a little bit more of a more slower pace and a bit more detail, we do have a Patreon where we provide you with monthly tutorials, and you won't find them here on YouTube. They are exclusive to my patrons. So if this is something that interests you, let's just take a look. If you love botanical painting and want to know more, then you may want to join our Patreon. We have different membership levels so that you can take your botanical painting to the next level. With our Clematis level, you will have a full-length, in-depth tutorial every month, and if you'd like to make even more progress, then check out our Rose level, where we now have a mentorship offering feedback to help you grow. You won't find any of our Patreon tutorials here on YouTube, and you can cancel your membership at any time. So if you want to take your botanical painting to the next level, then take a look. I'll put the link in the description underneath this video. Now you can see me here adding a plain water glaze. I do this quite a lot in my tutorials, and it just means that once everything's dry, I'm using plain water to go over the entire thing, and this helps blend the colours together. It makes them look a little bit softer and gives it a more realistic look. I'm adding a tiny bit of the wood cow wheat here, watered down, to start putting a few of the little markings in that you can see on the petals. I start off by putting a lot of water, and so that I'm roughly putting them in, and then I'm adding a bit more pigment, just enhancing those little markings, as you can see me doing here. I'm still using my number 2 pointed snowdrop round. This colour is beautiful. It's called gold ochre, and it has this lovely kind of sparkly look to it. You could use yellow ochre for this if you don't have this colour, and I'm applying it straight onto the paper here using this tiny little brush again, and once it's dry we can enhance that colour, but first of all we need to get these colours on. Painting around the filaments like this with the watery mix of blueberry just to make them stand out. You can see that it just paints a little bit of definition between the filaments, and it just makes them look a little bit as if they're standing out, because at the moment they look as if they're floating into space. We're just going to paint around those like this, and you can darken them up if you want to. I wanted to keep it nice and subtle. And just popping in that blueberry where I feel I need to add a bit of colour. You can see me here adding a little bit more green woodpecker, along with a mixture of green woodpecker with that blueberry colour, so you can see how this has darkened up that green on the leaf here, and I'm just going to continue the process. So if you really enjoy botanical painting, I will also put a playlist at the end of this video for you. You can click through and you can pick out the ones that you want and join in. Just working around the flower, just adding a bit of definition. I really like to outline things. I think it makes it look really sharp, and it really makes that flower sort of stand out away from that beautiful green leaf. Now that the stamen and anther are dry, is it the stamen? We can just add a tiny bit of that wood cow wheat just to give a little bit of definition here. I can never quite remember whether they're called stamen and anther. I should know, but let me know in the comments if I got that wrong. Just dropping in this colour here, working around bit by bit, you can see how that makes them kind of stand out a bit more. Just adding a tiny bit more of that green woodpecker, really watered down just to give a bit of definition. I'm going to stop talking at this point. You can watch the rest of the video in peace. Remember to stay right until the end so that you can see that finished painting as well as the outline and the reference photograph. Once again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week.